The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here to talk with flooring professionals from all over the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is your friend and mine, Ken Ballin. Ken owns and operates Skyro Floors on the Jersey Shore, and no, he doesn't hang out with the MTV reality show stars. We get to talking about what the industry has termed the installation crisis. How can it be fixed, and what do we believe the solution is? Listen in to know what you can bring to the table and why you are so powerful. Kenny B.
How we doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well.
Welcome back. I mean, we might as well, maybe we just turn this into Floor Academy hosted by Ken Ballin. You're on so often.
I'm like a regular at this point.
I guess, I don't know if are you a co-host now? Are we going to move into that? I don't know if I can give up that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I mean, all right. I'm just happy to run my mouth for you every once in a while.
Excellent. You can be a regular correspondent.
There we go.
We'll get you. Maybe we'll start having you do like little 3-minute segments every other week or something.
Oh, there we go. I'll need like a name badge or something.
Because I can see that as I listen with my ears.
Dream killer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll just print it up for you because you need your name in print anyways.
It's too much.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. It's fun and games. I know we love to have a good time. I don't want to get in trouble from Roland again and have him say that it's just the two of us having a conversation. So
I kind of dig that about us, though.
I think it's great. It's good for friends to just sit and talk, but I don't know.
We're very entertaining.
I think so. That's all that matters to me at the end of the day. What others get from it, that's for them to decide.
Hey, everybody makes their own path, right?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are, but there's probably somebody that doesn't. So let's check that off the list.
Yeah, sure thing, man. My name is Ken Ballin. I own Skyro Floors. I live at the sunny tropical Jersey Shore. It is actually sunny. I don't know how tropical, but it's sunny today. So we'll fly with that. I do custom tile and luxury flooring installations. I am CTI 1392 and CFI 13604. And I think that's it. It's been kind of a long day, but I'll stop at that.
Okay. I like it. He's there. He's knowledgeable. He's expensive. He runs a profitable business, folks. There's lots of episodes with Ken's name in them. Go find them. They're pretty helpful. He might help you grow your business with social media or being kind to people, something like that. And he does projects for the community. He's an upstanding individual.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
We're going to downplay it a little bit. We don't want to make his head too big, but he's pretty good.
I'm okay.
You got something special for me this time, and I think it is something that needs to be addressed. So let's dive into it, man. What you got for me?
Yeah, so we've got this sudden influx of people addressing the installation crisis. I'm doing air quotes right now. Installation crisis. We all know the back and forth of it with labor and demand, but not enough labor to take care of said demand. But it really seems to me, at least, that all of these plans that we've seen from, a multitude of sources are not addressing the initial concern. And do you know what the initial concern is?
I do.
I would say that the initial concern is attracting the talent. All of these plans, they are great in that they talk about how we're going to push certifications and training and higher pay and this and that, which is great, but that's great for those you've already attracted. It doesn't do anything to actually attract new blood.
Correct. The easiest way for me to put it, because I agree with you 100%. Look, I want people to be trained. I want people to be certified. I would love it if manufacturers would say you have to use certified installers. That would be wonderful.
That'd be amazing. Absolutely.
I want people to have profitable businesses, hence Floor Academy. But we're not. You're right. We're not attracting new talent. And the biggest thing for me is when you go and trades are often talked about. There's Facebook posts all the time with the images of teach your kid a trade, and it'll show a welder or a plumber, an electrician. It'll show
those
rates.
Guys are pretty badass.
It'll show rates of what these people make in a year. You want to know what trades never listed? Flooring installer.
Mm-hmm.
So are we that far out of the loop and disconnected, or that much of a commodity? Is it a combination of the two? There's a disconnect for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what it is, and I'll be right up front with it, dude. We failed as installers. It's on us. It's our own fault. We did it to ourselves. I remember working, back when I was working in retail, we would have installers coming in, and what they did was they'd come in, they would complain. They would complain about everything from sun up to sundown, just complain. That's not attractive to anybody. Nobody had this, this thought about them coming into the stores that, oh, the installers are here. Look at these badasses, man. There was oh God, these guys are coming again. And, it was complaining about my back hurts, my customer's doing this, the materials aren't ready, this material's garbage, we're not getting paid enough, this, and, but you've just gone this long and accepted it. You've made it okay. So not only are you not showcasing your abilities, you're not giving this, you have to exude this kind of confidence and positivity to attract others. And that's just not what we've seen historically,
I would agree. I can definitely see that. I know one little girl that wakes up and says, I want to be a flooring installer when I grow up.
And she's more talented than all of us.
Yes, she is. Go find that episode with Hannah Dawson, and you will crack up. It is amazing. That little girl is going places. But
that is one of my favorite episodes. By the way.
Oh man, I can't. I'm waiting for her to turn 18. We're going to interview her again, and we're going to see where she's at. We're going to have to check in. It'll be we'll follow her like a documentary over the years. We'll keep interviewing her every 5. But no, but her dad has done the right thing. He set an example that Joe has made the trade appealing. He's built a business that people respect.
You know what? Yes. And there are people that I've met throughout my career that do that, and again, I'll go back to when I was retail, because before I was installing, there was a local installer, his name's John Livio. He owns J&R Flooring locally around me. And this guy would come into the store, always had a smile on his face, was always happy. He was fantastic with the customers, fantastic with the people in the store. Everybody loved him. And he's such a nice dude. And he has a great family, great outlook on everything. And, he has his bad days just like the rest of us. But generally speaking, he was just this positive influence early on in my career. And he was actually, when I first started getting into installing, he had me on a few of his jobs, as, just helping out, doing, like helper stuff. But for him to go out of the way and say, come hang with us. We're doing this. We're working here today. Let's do this. Like, he didn't have to do that. And like, so I just have these people that stand out in my mind throughout my career, like John, that were just open and welcoming. Rollin Thompson's another one. And, we all know Rollin, but my first personal interaction with Rollin Thompson, aside from, he had actually done a few of my CFI certifications earlier on, but like, okay, I didn't know him personally. So my first personal interaction with Rollin Thompson was on the set of Restaurant Impossible. That's where I met him. And we got to chat and talk, up close. My in-laws were first responders on the island over here on Long Beach Island. And Restaurant Impossible was coming through for one of their holiday specials. They were redoing a local restaurant, and the firehouse was right along the way. So they were doing that as well. And my brother-in-law had said, hey, they're coming. They're, doing this renovation for us. He's like, they're looking for volunteers. You should come over and volunteer and hang out. I was like, yeah, okay, no worries. So I go over, and I think they had me paint and trim or something like that. And Rollin and George roll up to getting ready to do the flooring. And he says, whose truck is that with the CFI sticker on it? I said, oh, that's mine. He was like, you're coming with us. And, that's just Rollin. He's just this welcoming, loving person that just has more enthusiasm about the trades than many of the people that I've met.
Yes. 100%.
And that's really where I draw my positivity from, is these people that have had this influence on me throughout my career, because I use them as an example, and I really kind of, you can do anything with your life. You can do anything you want. You can, I don't know, dream the biggest dream, but be happy with what you're doing. And these guys were happy with what they're doing. They're happy with their lives. And, that has always stood out as being, number one objective.
I ponder, is there perhaps a link between loving what you do, having people see the passion you have for it, and running a profitable business?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because that is exactly what I was getting at. These guys that came through and these grumpy installers, like, they were always complaining about everything. I don't complain about stuff, dude. Like, I don't go through life and complain. That's just not me. Like, I love what I do. And, not everything is, this big, crazy work of art, but, dude, like, how many people get to wake up in the morning, report to themselves, go work when they want, for however long they want, doing whatever they want, charge as much as they want. Like, we've really kind of got it made.
Now it's glamorous. Now you've made flooring sound amazing, but nobody's selling it that way. That's exactly the problem.
Because everybody's so busy complaining. Like, stop complaining and be thankful. Like, be appreciative of what's this gift that's been given to you. That, you have this ability to have effect on others' lives. Like, I've said it before on your show, like, we have the ability to do these, works of art that last people their lifetimes. They live their lives on what we do. Our hands did this. And, we need to really start bringing this around to have that confidence that, that other people are attracted to. They're like, wow, what's this guy do for a living? And, it's not going to be, he's a floor layer. He's an installer. He's a contractor. Like, dude, I install custom tile and luxury flooring. That's what I do.
Now, once again, see, it's all in the words. It's the words and the attitude.
Well, that's it. The attitude. It's that mentality. It's like, be that role model, dude. Like, I just can't imagine waking up every day and hating what I do. Like that just, it boggles my mind. And if that's how you feel about installing floors, dude, stop installing floors. It's not what you should be doing. Like, everybody deserves the chance to be happy, you know? If you're not happy, then change it.
Well, and I think, man, it's so, we can take this backwards, because even when I've interviewed our good friend Liz Calandrino, I mean, she's saying that when she was running her couple of stores back in the 70s, people were talking, the industry was talking about an installation crisis. Okay. So this isn't a new term. This isn't a new thing. This is ongoing. But it seems to me, from someone that's been in the industry a short period of time, that there were truly gifted people up until homes started really requiring all types of different flooring and whatnot. And so, like, it got to the point where the pay kind of went downhill, and people would stick around less because you're not paying your help as well. You're not getting paid as well. And so, like, this downward spiral of quick training without proper methods and pride in your work and joy in it, right? Like that happiness that you're talking about, that you can love what you do. Like it just started fading away slowly but surely, and it became a commodity to people. It became something to just throw down. Like I don't know that the public looks at flooring as something special, or even showers as something special. I feel it's very commoditized all around, and it's this, you just expect it to be there, whereas it doesn't matter how it gets there. And then there's, once again, the rates have gone down, the training standards have gone down. Guys show up for a month learning how to do laminate floors, before they quit on you, and they buy a couple saws, and they're running out of their car installing floors poorly.
Well, dude, we decided that was okay. We made that choice as installers to say, you know what, I'm going to accept these low rates because they give me a lot of work, or I'm being pressured by the homeowners and store owners to do this, and that's okay. They're saying, you don't do that prep. The homeowner doesn't want to pay for it. And we said, that's okay. Mm-hmm. We've compromised on all of this nonsense. And then we wonder why everybody's so miserable. Because you compromised. You decided that it wasn't important to keep your standards up. You decided that you were going to accept this half pay rate because that's what was being offered. And maybe you didn't have any work, and maybe you needed this and that. And, I get that. I get the needing work versus charging, and I understand that. But that's not the conversation we're having today. We've talked about pricing, and that's not where we're going.
Yeah.
This is specifically about our image as people, as installers, mm-hmm. and the confidence that we exude. And we need to put our foot down and say, this is not okay. It's not okay anymore. We are wrecking our bodies for other people, and it's not okay to accept subpar rates. It's not okay to do subpar work, and it's not okay to just go by as an installer day to day without loving what you do. That's unacceptable to me.
That's tough, because I've really been in a spot. Oh no, I'm 100% with you. I just we've talked. I mean, you've seen what's going on with me, and so this will come out way after that. But like, I've been in a weird spot lately where like I'm just super down and depressed, and a job kicked my butt, and like, you're gonna go through phases, but you can't let the phase win.
Oh, and absolutely. So, like, and this is not a 24/7 positivity. Unicorns coming out my butt. Like that's not. Mm-hmm, that's mm-hmm. not really, what we're talking about. A general feel. We're talking about an overall outlook, and like everybody has their bad day. I have my bad days. I've been depressed and had stuff not going right for months. And you know what? I just look at it like no matter what is going on in my life, there's always somebody that has it worse.
Well, not only that, it's when you step back and you look at the grand scheme of things, like I've been super pouty about my situation, man. I've been like a big crybaby. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, you kind of have.
It's in the grand scheme of things, like I was able to buy the replacement flooring out of my own pocket. I'm not broke. It didn't affect my family. The kids still got swim lessons. The mortgage paid. There's still money in the bank. Like,
yeah, it's
I'm
just a bad
doing
day.
fine.
A bad day does
correct.
not equate a bad life.
Exactly. It's been a bad month. It's been a bad 2 months. But at the end of the day, when you step back and you look at the grand scheme of things, this is like a little speed bump in the road. And that's part of life. That's part of business. But I think there's a lot of people that have let the speed bump become a mountain, right? Like we're making mountains out of molehills here instead of finding a way to overcome it. There's a lot of the easiest example to point at, right, is that won't work in my area.
Oh God, I hate that.
Okay, so if we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about an installation crisis, we're gonna talk. It's not an installation crisis; it's an image crisis. I think is what we're getting. It's an
installer crisis because it's a crisis that they don't think more of themselves.
Yes, and so that won't work in my area. I'm sorry, but that's the biggest load of crap because it will work in your area. It may not work at the percentages that I'm talking or that Ken's talking, but it'll work. I don't care if you ask for a penny more, a square yard, a foot, a linear foot. Whatever you're doing. I don't care if it's a penny, a nickel, a dime. If you learn how to sell and you go in with confidence and pride and people can see your passion, you will sell projects at higher rates. Guaranteed.
Absolutely. It's funny you mention that because I want to say last week, I saw this post in one of the Facebook groups, and it came up about floating floors. And I had mentioned that, my rates and what I charge. And one of the members had said, I fight to get $2 a foot. They freak out when they say $2 a foot. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, here's what you want to do. And I just said, I'm going to give you some homework. I said, on your next 4 bids, I said, don't give them a square foot price. Give them a total price only. And you know what? Now you're charging $225 a foot. Totals only. You're not giving them a square price. It's going to be $225 a foot, estimation purposes. That'll give you your total. I said, report back in a few weeks after you give these estimates and let us know how many you get. I'm curious to see how many that guy sells, mm-hmm. because I guarantee he's not losing jobs over a quarter a foot. And if you're not going to lose jobs over a quarter a foot, you're probably not going to lose jobs over 50 cents a foot.
Not when there's sales tactics. When you learn to sell, which that's it, this all goes down to training. There was poor training. No one taught you how to run a business. No one taught you how to install properly. There's been poor training, not you, but us in general, in industry.
No, absolutely.
Right?
No,
like,
dude, blame me, blame you, blame all of us because it's all of our fault. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Mm-hmm. It's us. It's our fault as installers. We did this. Now we need to fix it.
I agree. And I think that's one of the reasons this show exists is I need to learn how to run a better business. I've said this 100 times. But when I have people on my payroll, I'm talking to them about the business because I don't want them to see that I'm getting a $5,000 check at the end of the week. Yes, I'm getting a $5,000 check.
But how much of that is going into your pocket?
Well, okay, 40,
none.
None. No. I mean, I'll make some money, but okay, so 40% of it's going to come off the top for taxes and business expenses and things like that, right? So there's $2,000 right off the top. I got $3,000 left. Well, I have a guy on payroll, right? And so now he's making $20 or $25 an hour, whatever it's going to be for him. So then I got to pay that. I got to match his taxes. So that's coming out of the $3,000 that's left. So now I'm down to, I got another $2,000 for me. Okay.
No, you have $2,000 that goes to the wife. You have nothing. You're married.
My wife's pretty good. Luckily, I control No. I control the bank accounts, my friend. Trust me. But okay, so there's $2,000 at the end of the day. All right, that's $400 a day. That's good money. The business has money because there's extra left after taxes with the 40% set aside. There's good money to be made when you're charging appropriately and you are responsible with the money. But my $2,000, they look at that and they're like, but I only made $800. Why do you get $2,000? It's my tools. It's my name. I'm warrantying the floor. So if you screw up and I have to go back and fix something, which I just did this week, that's my time. I'm charging to go fix the stuff that you're not going to have to do. I'm going to take the phone call when they call at 10 o'clock at night and they're, they want to know what's going on because they haven't been around in 3 days and we haven't talked. Like, I'm doing other things to earn that extra money. But if you're not talking to your guys about this, you're not helping the industry. They don't understand business. They just see numbers. And when you're young, or when you don't understand how a business works and all you see is the $5,000 check, none of this computes. So how do you've let yourself down because now you're potentially risking losing somebody that you've invested in. And now they're going to go start a business and they just need the money. So now they're going to go undercut you and then you're going to complain about them undercutting you. You're going to complain about them doing worse work because they don't know how to make $1 because you never taught them. You're not just teaching a trade. You're teaching a business. You have to do it from every perspective.
Well, we've said it before, there are many men in business, but not many businessmen.
Yes. But installation crisis, my arse. You're right. It's an installer crisis. It's a businessman crisis. We're shooting ourselves in the foot, folks.
Well, and just because you can install, you could be the best installer in town, but that doesn't make you a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
That means you can install, which is great. We need installers. But, dude, go take some business classes at your local college. I'm not saying, go into student debt like I did and, have this degree that you don't use. Well, I guess I kind of do use it, but
you do
not in the capacity that I had initially thought I was going to.
Yeah.
But invest in yourself, be better. There's more to it than just sticking wood to a floor. We need to do more than just stick things to other things. There's more to it than that.
Yes. Well, and the minute you decided you were going to have a company, you became flooring installer last. You now run a company. So you are the chief everything officer. You're in charge of sales. You're in charge of marketing. You're in charge of advertising. You're in charge of the installs. You are the installer. You're in charge of the warehouse space. Oh, you don't have a warehouse? Yes, you do. It's the back of your truck, your garage, your whatever it is. You have all of the things a retail store has, unless you're purely subbing from the retail store. And even if you are just subbing from the retail store, you still run a business. If you don't think you can negotiate your rates, that's your first problem. You are a business owner. You negotiate your rates. The store does not set the rates. In fact, the store cannot set the rates. That's illegal.
It's funny how many think they can, though, and how many. This goes back to the accepting everything. We decided it's okay to work for stores that set our rates.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If I say no, well, they'll just find somebody else that doesn't know any better.
You're right. But this is where I don't think we need a flooring union, but there is a reason that unions existed in the past. It's funny what happens when people band together and they communicate with each other and they stand up for their rights and their well-being.
Right. But you know what? We can do that as human beings. We don't need a union to be decent with each other, There's just there's just so much more. There's so much more to this than just what we've done, what we've accepted, and what we should do. Like, it's just, and I say that, we fail, but I failed too. Like, I am guilty of the same thing. I was having a conversation with my oldest the other night. She is 14 and she was looking for a job around town, trying to be a little independent, and she's having a rough time because nobody's hiring 14-year-olds right now.
Yep, that's true. Which is funny because you'd think they'd hire anybody at this point.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially given the current conditions. But no, so she's having a hard time, and I said to her, you're always welcome to come work at Skyro Floors. And she looks at me and she says, "Daddy, nobody wants your job." And I said, "Huh, that's an interesting outlook." And I kind of let it. Well, I failed, dude. I failed. Nobody wants your job, Daddy. Well, why? So I let this sit with me for a few days, and I'm thinking to myself, why? What have I like? And you know me, like I'm kind of like. I'm looking for that outside the box stuff. Like I kind of look for the more interesting artistic installs. So, a few days go by and I go back to her. I say, "Scott, the other day you said this," and she thought she was in trouble. So she was like, "I didn't say that." I was like, no, that's not what I'm getting at. I was like, "You're not in trouble. I'm curious. I want to have this conversation. You're not going to insult me." I said, "I'm not mad. Like, you say what's on your mind, and we're going to have a conversation." I said, "Why do you think that nobody wants my job?" And she says, "Well, that's not what I meant." I said, "Okay, all right. I appreciate that." I said, "But what did you mean?" She's like, "Well, when you're tiling something, you're just sticking rectangles to walls." And, the pride in me comes up, and I'm like, "Whoa, what are you?" And I'm like, no. Let's ride this out. Let's take a ride on this train and see where it goes. And I said, because I show her like my stuff regularly, like after I finish, I'm like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And usually the response is, "Oh wow, that's really cool." Like if it's something cool. Yeah. If it's lame, I get the, it's okay. But I like that honesty, and I've taught her to be honest, and but the rectangles on walls comment just stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, but we do it different ways, and they could be facing two different ways, and these rectangles are cooler than. And I'm like, interesting. So I really had to think and like, wow, like I failed. This is what I've done, and I'm not like, I don't complain about work, I don't complain about material, so I don't do that. But I have not been exuding this rock star image that I'm preaching about right now, Okay. And it was funny to be called out on it.
Well, so I've seen pictures, and maybe it was your youngest that was with you on a job, like setting a backsplash. I've seen pictures of it, or was it your oldest?
Oh, no, that was my oldest. She was setting the backsplash. Yep.
So, I mean, that's an interesting conversation to have, is that she didn't see the value in what she was providing to somebody. She thought she was just sticking rectangles on the wall.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Has that conversation happened, and where did that go? Because now I want to know.
Well, no, and honestly, at the time, neither one of us are thinking much about it or, developing this marketing plan for the company or anything like that. Like, it was just, I had to go pick up you from school. Something happened that day. What happened?
The shooter call or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. There was an active shooter in town, and I went and grabbed her from school and brought her to the job site. I remember that. And yeah, so she was there on the job site with me, and I had her just sticking some tiles up. So like, I wasn't in my head at the time about what we were doing. It was just, "Oh, you're here. You want to do this? Yeah, I'll give it a shot." Like, it was just a daddy-daughter kind of bonding thing. Not much was being made of it. I had my youngest on another job site, and we were doing something. What were we doing? I think she was, I had her wiping grout or something on the floor. She was wiping up grout haze. And, but like, my youngest is like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on Daddy's job site. Like, this is so cool. I'm going to, I don't know, use this sponge." Like, she's like, Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not like if I catch her at home and she's not interested by what I do. But if she's on the job site for whatever reason with me, like she's into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny, that difference in dynamic. But yeah, man, rectangles on walls, it just crushed me.
Yeah, well, I think, but that's the conversation to go back with her and have and be like, I understand you've had some, but I would go back and be like, but you set some of those rectangles. Do you understand what you were doing for somebody? And really explain that, like, you were adding value to their home. You were bringing them happiness. They really appreciate the look that was done. Like, you're not just sticking rectangles to a wall. However, the problem is once again, this problem persists in the industry because homeowners do think of it as a commodity of you sticking rectangles to some surface.
Yeah.
That ain't what we do. We're
going to coin this phrase. This phrase, rectangles to walls, is going to be like a new hashtag or something.
There's so understanding. You don't have to understand the science of the grout you're using or the mortar you're using, right? Like that's for the company to understand, and they're scientists, but
right.
You've got to be able to read a package. Okay. So you need some form of 4th grade, 5th grade reading level to say, I have to add this amount of water to this thing. You have to be able to provide the tools that can mix it. You've got to be able to use the right tools to apply it. You have to be able to put it up and make sure that it's flat. There's not lippage. All these little things. It's not just sticking a rectangle to a wall. I mean, it can be, but we all know what that looks like. We see I understand that, but if she's taking pride in what she's doing, you break down the steps like I just did. It sounds much more elaborate and fancy than it is. At the end of the day, absolutely. Yes, you're sticking a rectangle to the wall. It's how you stick the rectangle to the wall that matters.
Oh, well, it's how long that rectangle stays on the wall. That's important.
But my son, there's videos of it on Flooring Installers of America. Hey kid, you want to come to work with dad? No, I hate floors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is that he is his father's son, and I will spite people just to spite them because that's my personality, and he very much takes after me. He's learned it from a very young age. So there's definitely some of that in there. I've had him on a job. He got punished once and he had to come to work with me all day, and he was undercutting door jams, and I had him installing some floors and moving boxes and stuff. And like, he didn't hate it. I'm not saying he loved it, but he didn't hate it. And I think it gave an appreciation for how I come home, and sometimes I'm grumpy and, like I work hard. And so I think there's some learning in that for them to appreciate it, but it's, I try and tell him, like, he's left-handed. He's very artistic. He loves to draw. And I'm like, look, man, I get that you don't want to do floors with me. I was like, but if you learn to do tile, like, you would excel at that. Like, or if you wanted to get into doing like crazy walls, like I do sometimes, right? Like, you may not be able to use your artistic side every day, but when it comes out, like, you will excel in that area. And then the more you excel and people see it, the more you'll sell of that kind of stuff and get to do it more and more. And he's like, nah, that's stupid. I'm going to be a voice actor. And I'm like, how many voices you got, bro? and he's got none. So
it's a work in progress. That's all right. We'll get there.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see what he puts effort into, or he's going to be he still wants to be a YouTube star. So we're failing our kids, apparently. We're failing clearly. We're failing our apprentices, and we're failing our fellow businessmen.
Absolutely.
So what are we doing? I mean, besides, look, we have the forums now. I think that's helping grow a solution. The podcasts that are out there as they continue to grow, because let's see, in September, this podcast will have been around for 2 years, which puts Tile Money at 3 years. And so for the first really year of like business oriented learning podcasts, it was myself and Luke Miller. And then you got Dr. Fred in there. Well, Anthony hopped in there, and that's growing. You got Dr. Fred with the Tile and Stone Show. NWFA has one now. Hardwood Floor Business came out with one. There's another one run by a hardwood guy called The Dust Life.
Bona has one.
I'm sorry, who?
There's two guys from Bona that
Oh,
have one.
yes, On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. You got that one. Like it keeps growing, and there is Floor Talk Daily that's been around for a very, very long time, and they have an episode that comes out like 5 days a week, but it's
Right.
like 5 minutes long, and it's very like retailer oriented. They'll generally talking to somebody about an acquisition or new product
gotcha.
release or something like that. It's not up my alley at all. Maybe when I own a store, but it exists. There's tons of episodes. But they continue to grow. Like there's more and more coming out all the time. And so the communication that's happening, the accessibility to the education is becoming more readily available. But
Well, the accessibility is a big thing in and of itself. We didn't a few years ago, we didn't have the communities that we do now. I'll go back to these, grumpy old timers that were coming into the store complaining about everything. Like they didn't talk shop with other installers. They looked at other installers as their competition.
mm-hmm.
And I've said it before. You've heard me say it that I don't have any competition.
Yeah.
I just have other members of the network that are resources. These other people are resources. They're not your competition. And as soon as we get that through our heads, as thick as they may be, the better off everyone will be.
Yeah. There's something to learn from your neighbor. There's plenty of work in your town. Unless you're in like some super duper rural area and there's 800 homes in the county, like there can be 2 or 3 of you. You're probably going to survive. There's probably even a high-end guy and a low-end guy, and the people know it. So
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to work. I mean, granted, I understand that I live in a very populous city of 4.5 million people. So like to add another flooring guy isn't going to make or break the system. If you took 10 flooring guys away, it's not going to make or break the system. So yeah. I understand that I'm in a very fortunate position, as are you. You live in a populous area, but you also live in an area that's second and third homes. And so that makes a huge difference in what you're able to do. And you can command higher rates because these people have money. They're very affluent. But even when you're not, there's plenty of work to go around. You shouldn't be starving. If you are, I feel that has to do.
You're doing something wrong.
Yes, that's exactly it. You're not running a business properly. There's something wrong with your attitude, most likely. Like you're a detriment to yourself. And I'll be honest, like I've grown this business over the last 6 years of being involved in the industry and having it for 4 years, but officially like running it for like 3. I'm very pessimistic by nature, and it is hard to get anywhere in life when all you want to do is find the negatives in everything. And that's why I don't work for UPS anymore. I don't work for the UPS store anymore. I don't work for a company that digitized like old analog photos and 8mm film reels and stuff like that. I don't work for a place called Granger, which is like an industrial supply company in their warehouse or as management. I don't work in television anymore. Like my attitude got me nowhere. Like all of these places had lucrative career opportunities, but I ruined every single one of them with my attitude. This is the only thing I've ever done, but that's been successful to like a high scale. And granted, I can only fire myself, but I've been able to change my attitude and how I present myself to my clients. When I go and meet with
self-awareness is a fickle thing, my friend.
Well, when you go and talk to, I've been told like they chose me even when there's no reason people should have went with me when I was just starting out. Man, I couldn't sell a job to save my life. Like there's no.
Yeah, but clearly you could sell something. So well, I mean, there was something.
I've been told there was a passion about the way I talked about getting it done. Okay, so there was something that set me aside that these people were willing to take an opportunity on me or a chance on me. Now, granted, I've learned sales tactics by now, and I've gotten better at other things. I've invested in myself. I didn't go to college, as you said earlier, which if you have the time to do it, go ahead. But there's books out there. Go get a book on sales tactics. Go get a book on psychology. Go get a book on wherever you're lacking and read it. You're going to learn something. And if you learn one thing, you're better off than the guy that's sitting over there with a thumb up his butt complaining that he doesn't get paid enough.
Yeah.
You're going to make a difference in your life when you invest in yourself. And so, yes, I'm still pessimistic. I'm not nearly as pessimistic as I was, but I can go and talk about a floor with a lot of passion and land some jobs at some crazy prices. So,
well, and at the end of the day, I say that's a win.
I think so, but I want to encourage everybody to do it. You can do this, people. Like, it's not, don't tell me you can't do it. Oh, I don't know. It goes back to the car example that we always use. Is there somebody driving a Maserati around in your Podunk County? Probably. Or at least within, an hour's drive? Probably. Somebody's got the money and they're willing to pay. Go find them. And they didn't charge any less for the Maserati in your area. They charged just the same as they would have charged in Phoenix. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to pay for that Maserati.
Absolutely.
All right. We're ranting. We're raving. I know there's a direction. You got to have. You got to get me back on track. You're leading the show here. I know.
All right. Well, so we're talking about this, how installers have failed, how we've screwed things up royalty, how we're disappointments to our children. Let's get back on track and talk about what we do to turn this around.
Okay.
Let's turn this back into a positive, and let's give some insight on how we do what we do to the best of our abilities and brag about it to everybody that's not in the industry.
I like it.
Well, yeah, but deservedly so, because we are the craftsmen. We are the artists. We are the ones doing this work that these people use our installations for the rest of their lives, or at least the time that they're in that house, and then hopefully they call us and when they buy a bigger house and let us do it again.
Yeah.
But, you see these installs, and, the other kind of argument to this is that to be able to brag about something, to be able to, and maybe brag kind of has a negative connotation with me. I don't want to brag about anything, but I want to have confidence and appreciation for what I've done,
Yes.
So I don't know. There's got to be a word for this better than brag.
Boast, maybe. That can have a negative connotation. I think
it all does. Because
biblically speaking, you can boast, and it's a positive. Like that's the way the word would be used biblically. It's joyfully boast. You can. Look, people walk in a room, and even if you install laminate or LVP in a rectangular room, they love the change, and they tell you it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We bring joy to people, even when it's a simple floating floor. There's
Absolutely,
no reason you shouldn't be out there
simple
bragging about it. And I think brag is fine, all right? You need to go and talk about how you made Miss Susie Homeowner the happiest person in the world and show that what you did made a difference. Show that old nasty carpet with the piss stain from the dog in the middle of it side by side with your awesome new LVP floor in this rectangular bedroom and say, look, this lady loves it. I did it in this town and she's so thrilled with the way it turned out and she can't wait to get all her furniture back in and move in and let her kid not have to worry about the dog peeing on this new floor because she can just wipe it up. Great. You've told a story.
And that's great. And that's fantastic, but you know what? It's not enough. It's not enough because nobody is going to look at a 10 by 10 bedroom in a tan laminate, a beige carpet, this, that, and say, oh my God, this magical artist has come in and changed my life. That's not cutting it anymore. We need to see more over the top, outside of the box, artistic installations, because that's what you're going to attract people with. No, but I'm not going to win any awards by slapping down some red oak natural in this little foyer. It's not cutting it. It's not enough. We as installers need to step up our game and start thinking outside the box, push the limits, and use this knowledge that you gained by installing this simple stuff to take it up a notch. I want to see these crazy borders, these insane patterns. I want to see these custom scribes in tile and these, crazy staircases and carpet. I'm craving this creativity, this over-the-top artistic. Is exquisitry a word? I just made that up. We're going to use exquisitry.
I like it.
Because that's what I want to see. I want to see people pushing the limits and doing stuff. I want to look at somebody's post in one of our groups and say, damn, that's some badass shit right there.
Okay. And I think you're right. Okay. Yes. You're going to draw the public in with more of that stuff. You're going to make it more attractive to a younger generation when it's exciting and it looks more interesting and it's not just a bedroom and it's this rectangular room and it's straight laid. Like it is what it is. It's not very exciting. You're correct. I think folks need to get away from being afraid to do things if that's the route we need to go.
Oh, absolutely. Those were the next words coming out of my mouth. Because you just hit the nail on the head. Bro.
Don't worry about getting paid for everything. I know Joshua Crossman was on and we talked about charging for estimates. Oh my gosh, right? You can actually charge to go give people a consultation. You can give a free estimate over the phone. So I've been doing that. It works. Go back, listen to that episode. Anyways, I know for a fact that on a project, he was really pleased with how the client was treating him. So in between two rooms, he threw in this little like decorative insert, handmade out of wood, right? Like a couple different species, beautiful work for free. Just, they were nice to me. So I'm going to throw this in. I had a job, you saw me make that hideous bordered 45 landing that was crooked and really ugly.
Yeah, but you know what? I saw that second one too, and that was a nice recovery.
Correct. And so like I learned on one, I learned on a second one. It turned out nice. Both clients got it for free. I invested. I know what I'm going to charge if somebody wants it. It's $500. Okay. Absolutely. I know what the cost is. I know what the time is going to take me. But now I've had 2 dry runs at it. I feel comfortable saying that's $500 and you're going to pay me and it's going to turn out perfect. So,
but dude, you can't be afraid to experiment. You can't be afraid to say, hey, I wonder if this is going to work. Now you'll get people saying, how dare you experiment in people's homes and who do you think you are? And well, dude, I'm not going to leave them with something that looks like garbage, but you can't go through life being afraid of falling. Like sometimes you got to jump and you might fall, but you know what? You also might fly.
You opened a business. You're experimenting every day. You've already told yourself that you can support yourself. So you might as well go and experiment somewhere else. Cause you know what? If you screw it up, hey, guess what? You're trained to know how to fix it. And if you're not, you probably shouldn't be installing in the first place if you can't fix your screw ups.
So. No, and you learn more about flooring by fixing it than you do by installing it.
Yeah. So I get that you and I might have a little more leeway in what we can do with somebody in their home because we charge higher rates. I understand that. So if you're making no money doing apartment installs of carpet, you can't exactly like throw in some kind of fancy runner for somebody for free. Like there may not be the time, but maybe you got to make a sacrifice at some point. That's in order to get ahead. You're going to have to sacrifice something.
You have to sacrifice. You have to take risks. You have to, I dislike that example because, in my opinion, I don't charge any more or any less based on where you live. If you live in a multi-million-dollar beach house or a little teeny tiny condo, you're paying me the same exact rate to install your floor.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. I'm saying that I understand we compete at the top of our markets. And so because of that, we may have a little more leeway in profitability of what we're able to do, as opposed to a guy that's slamming in apartment complex units day in and day out with, he's doing his 100 yards of carpet every day for, $2 a yard.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of difference in between where we're probably at financially. So I get we may have a little more leeway to play with things. But I didn't get there by not correct. I didn't get there by sacrificing. I've talked about my rates. Like I was the $1 a square foot guy underbidding everybody.
Oh, we all were. That's how you start.
You work your way up, folks, and it's not going to happen by not taking risks. So you gotta,
unless you grew up in the trade and had some guidance from, people that started before you, like
even
everything's an experiment, everything,
But even then, they didn't teach you anything, because that's why we are where we are. That's where we started this conversation, right? They withheld the business information because they didn't have it themselves. They withheld the trade information because they didn't want you leaving and going out on your own. We're in a hot mess of a circle now.
That we are. But, we have the opportunity to turn it around. And, it is great that the different people in the industry from different, parts of the industry want to do something. And anytime anybody ever puts something out and says, this is what we should do to, address the installation crisis, inevitably I get messages, hey, did you see this? What do you think of this? And my answer is always the same. I always say, well, you can't hate on somebody for doing something. They're doing something. Doing something is always better than doing nothing.
Yes.
So even if whatever plan they have has holes in it or doesn't address this problem, it's still something. And just that concern to do something shows you that there's value here. And the sooner that we come together and work together and address this from all the different angles, the sooner we actually start to make a difference. But it begins with us. Yeah. We are the starting point, not the industry. It's us, not the retailers, not the distributors, not the manufacturers, not the certifying bodies. It's us, because it's our hands. And at the end of the day, we are the ones doing this work. And all you have in this life is the knowledge you pass on to others.
Oh, I got this for you. Hold on. We're going to drop that mic. All right. No, I'm being funny, but I'm being serious. Like you're 100% correct. And it's already been said. You just stated it a different way. We have failed ourselves as an industry. And until we pick up the pieces and we work together and we find a way to attract new talent to an industry that we are passionate about, we're screwed. We're going to continue to go down this cycle of, it's not going to get better. The only positive that I see in all of this, okay, is if all these reports are true and the average age of the installers is over 50 years old, man, it's going to become a really lucrative trade when you get to pick your jobs even from a store, because they don't have enough installers to get everything done. So now we can command
theoretically.
Theoretically, but you should be able to theoretically command a higher rate, which will then make the industry much more profitable, even for people that don't understand how to run a business. And with that comes young people that would like to be paid a lot. So then we can then offer them better pay and attract new people in and hopefully build it right. And then as more people are attracted in because the pay is higher, it's going to level out, which is fine. But we can still continue to pay fairly and better than we were, and hopefully get it right this time around of making the trade appealing, artistic, and fun. Something that you can be passionate about and proud of, not whining about, oh, I had to go to the store and do this carpet and it sucks and the electrician left his crap everywhere, and sweep it up. And shut up, just do your job. Put it down. Make people happy.
You know what, though? At the end of the day, even with all that, it's still better than punching a time clock in my book.
I agree. I agree. It's we are responsible for our future, and until I think there's not enough people that realize that we expect, there's a lot of people that expect the manufacturers to fix it. There's a lot of people that expect the retailers to fix it, the certifying bodies to fix it. Why is it somebody else's problem?
Well, yeah, exactly. Then that's it. That's they're doing this wrong. They're doing this wrong. This person's doing that. Well, you know what? We're doing this wrong. Let's change it. Let's do something.
Correct. And as much as you want to point out, what are you doing? Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
What
it's
are you
very easy
doing?
To criticize behind a keyboard.
Okay, I know what I'm doing. I started a damn podcast, okay? I'm out here interviewing people for like $20 an episode a month because I was lucky enough to have Jason Goldberg step up and sponsor me, right? Like, I'm not getting rich off this podcast, folks. This is a labor of love because it was something I realized I needed, and it was something I realized the industry needed. I'm playing a role, okay? It's not a big one, but it is a role, and it is making a difference. Okay, there's like,
and it's we're averaging like 2,800 sitting home criticizing.
Correct, it is. Okay, so I'm doing something, but I'm trying to facilitate the conversations and get people talking. Okay, I have, besides running Floor Academy, I have my Arizona Flooring Installers group. Okay, there's like 60 people in it now. Is that a lot? No, but there wasn't an Arizona Flooring Installers group before.
It's 60 more than were in the group before we started.
Correct. So I'm trying to facilitate conversations locally now. Let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about, hey, I'm not busy this week. Is there somebody I can come and team up with? Because what you have going on in Jersey makes flooring and the flooring trade and tile trades attractive to me. Because you all work together. You're willing to share. You're willing to call somebody in when you know you're not the best at it. You didn't try and sand and finish that floor recently.
No,
you use somebody else. Like, why don't do something you're not great at? Call in the guy that's amazing at it. Share. There's plenty of work because you know what? They're going to come upon a project probably where they're like, you know what? You're a better fit. I do it all the time. I get calls to sand and finish floors. If I really wanted to invest in sand and finish equipment and start going and hacking up people's floors and leaving dig marks everywhere, like, I could do it. But I at this point, it's not worth it for me to do that. And so I tell them, hey, here's 2 companies to call. Both of them are fabulous. They've been around for years. Like, call them. I don't even try and get a referral fee. I don't care. I'm going to point them in the direction to go get their problem solved.
Well, and that kind of just happened to me on a job last month. I had this job. I spec'd this job out. Sold the materials and everything. And I just I was in the middle of a bigger project. I didn't have time to do it. They were kind of pressed for time. So I called in my buddy Ken Pearson to do the vinyl planks on the floors. And I called in my buddy Ken Ackerman to do the tile in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And, they came in and they're business owners. They're, by definition, they are my competition, except that, I don't have competition. We're all just part of the network. We're all just doing this together. And the sooner we realize this, the sooner things start to change.
Correct. You made a little bit of money. You subbed it out to them. They got paid fairly. They were happy with what you all agreed to. And at the end of the day, the client ended up with a project completed on deadline. It's a win for everybody in my book. People talk about wanting to get into commercial flooring, but they don't have the manpower to do it. Okay. Well, you don't have to form a partnership with somebody to go do business with them. You can technically work with your quote unquote competition and just sub them part of the contract. And then you go and work on it. Or maybe you get 5 different companies together and you go get yourself a 10,000 square foot warehouse and you get it done. I don't know, but don't be afraid to build relationships with the people around you. It's going to strengthen the industry and not hurt it. You're hurting it by thinking of everybody as competition. You wonder why everyone wants to underbid you and cut your throat and be cheaper. It's because you're not having the conversations that matter and you're not building relationships. You're building enemies. Stop it. It's stupid.
Amen.
I don't know. You want me to yell about more things? I'm good at it.
Well, I just think that we really need to take a step back and stop being afraid of taking a gamble. It's so it sounds, oh, Ken Ballin's saying this, go figure. But like, it's true. Like, gamble on yourself, gamble with your business, gamble. I'm not talking about being reckless. I'm talking about taking a chance. Like, don't be afraid to try something new. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
How do you know that how do you know where your limits are if you don't push them?
You've got to get on. Well, it goes back to what I was talking with Jake Schlichty about. He says you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You're not growing unless you're uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't have to take, like you said, you're not telling people to be reckless. You can take calculated risk. Okay. It's not, no one's saying to put everything on the line, but you can put a little bit out there. It's okay. You can make mistakes and you can live from them because you're not learning. You're not growing if you're not making mistakes. How else are you going to learn? You can't get it right every time. It's impossible. So you can't fix the industry by continuing to have your blinders on and ignore it and not push the limits of what's possible within it. No one wants to.
No, not at all. I want to see people. I want to see people doing the craziest installs, the most insane pad. I want to see people pushing the limits and really setting the bar high, because that's what's going to attract new blood. Somebody's going to look at that crazy custom scribe you did and say, wow, that's awesome. I gotta learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
these are the things that, we need to really, put a push on, put a focus on the extreme, not just this basic stuff. The basic stuff is great. The basic stuff pays the bills, but the basic stuff doesn't push the limits. It's time to up our game and push our limits.
Okay. We got to put ourselves out there. I'm wondering how to incorporate this, right? Like, if we need to attract new blood. Okay, so I think what CFI does at Surfaces is great, right? Like, we have this installation competition now. You get a bunch of people, you're showing off skills. People can come and watch.
That's great, but beginners aren't going to Surfaces.
That's my point, is that there needs to be something on a smaller scale level. How do we get involved? This is what I'm still trying to figure out, is how do I get myself, with my busy schedule, involved with a high school to be able to offer free after school training on flooring, or have, hold some kind of a competition there for them to be like, maybe I go and get a bunch of stores to donate some tile. I get it off to a high school and I leave it there, and I tell kids, like, you need to go buy yourself a $10 pair of nippers and make yourself a mosaic, right? Like, encourage them to play with it so they can see how artistic they can get with it. And then I'll judge it and I'll give away a $500 prize.
Well, to start out, we got to bring shop class back.
Yeah, correct. But you don't, because they can take the tile home and use nippers and, like, I don't care. They can take a hammer to the damn piece of ceramic for all I care, and then just put it back together however they want. I don't really care how it happens. Just make something pretty so that it's outside of the box thinking, and, like, look at what you can create with what you thought was just a 12 by 12 square.
Well, so, maybe the answer to this particular question isn't necessarily shop class, but art class. We get the art teacher to do, to bring mosaics into the curriculum. Mm-hmm. And, there are different ways to go about this. But, as far as business owners are concerned, like, the average business owner isn't going to devote that sort of time to something. While I think it's awesome, and my wheels are turning on it now, the average flooring installer is probably not there and may not even be equipped to deal with, kids in that capacity. I think as far as installers are concerned, what they really need to be doing is promoting themselves, via the power. I know we've done this conversation before as well, but social media is a big tool.
Yes.
And, to post in your local groups, and, there's all sorts of different Facebook groups. I'm not just talking, going in and posting, oh, I own a flooring, here's my contact info. Like, I'm talking about actually contributing to some of these groups. And, we have a few around me that one is home decor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a local home decor group, and the discussion is home decor related conversations. And, what do you guys think of this paint color? I just painted my beach house. And so I post my projects in there and never once mention that I do it professionally or my company name or contact info.
Okay.
Never. I don't, it would be against the rules. It would be spamming the group, but I'm welcome to share my projects because I'm not promoting anything. I'm just saying, look at this. This is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same as the lady down the street, posting her, I don't know, lamp that she filled with seashells.
Yeah.
But by posting this stuff in here, I have access to a higher end market, and I'm gaining a reputation as a higher end artistic installer. They know what I do. I don't have to post it. I'm a regular contributor of this group. So as far as business owners are concerned, stop promoting your business and promote you. I've talked about building your brand. Yeah. Building your brand is not, I own Joe's Flooring and this is my phone number, call me. It's, I just finished this work of art. Look at this incredible mixed with oak hickory with a border and a chevron herringbone, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And this is what I'm working on. I guarantee you'll get more attention on that post than you will about your business. I guarantee it.
Correct. Branding is not advertising. You're not looking for sales. You're looking at building the name.
Yeah,
and the
well, it is, but it isn't,
accomplish. Well, correct. I mean,
it's just a different angle.
Yes. But that's still, you're attracting the clients, and that's not that's the people with money. We need to attract.
Right. But this also goes back to if I posted a 10 by 10 room of 2 1/4 red oak, that's not going to get the same attention as, this last pebble scribe that I just did in this shower over here.
Yes and no.
Something that's really pushing the limits outside the box that people haven't seen before, or something that, really is really eye-catching, like a super clean install. It doesn't have to be super artistic, or, it could just be a super clean, nice layout, big open space that just feels right. Like it doesn't have to be this, this crazy thing that Ken Ballin just did on this job that, nobody else is going to be able to sell.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's all in the story you weave. That's what it comes down to. Is we have failed the industry by not, and we cannot grow it because we're horrible storytellers. When you tell the story of my back hurts and my knees are blown out and I got to take pain pills and I can't, I can't get to sleep at night. And of course nobody wants to come and do what you do. Don't paint that story because that's not the whole story. There was a time when you probably loved what you were doing and you were super happy with it and passionate about it. And if you paint that story, people are going to be attracted to it.
Dude, when I was a kid, my role models were professional skaters and surfers. Like, that was what I was into. I saw these professionals doing something they loved, and they had sponsors and were getting paid for this contest and this, promotion and this and that. And I said, wow, that is awesome. That is cool. Now, I am nowhere near the skateboarder as I am the tile setter. And perhaps coordination and age both play a part in that. But, I try and incorporate that, the image that I have of these guys skating and surfing when I was a kid, like that's what I really try to emulate, because they were good with the fans, they were good with being around people, they were good at what they did and they loved it. There was always smiles on their faces when they were finished, and they all fell, they all failed, and they were all mad from time to time. But, seeing that perfect wave or that, that perfect set, got perfect tens, that is really what always sticks in my mind. Like, that's what I'm after.
Well, and I think there is that within the industry. But that's the problem, is that it's only within the industry, right? Like, I knew from reading the hardwood floor magazines that you can order up for free and get delivered to your house every 2 months. Wayne Lee's a big name. Leonard Hall's a big name. There's Sprig Lynn. Like, some of these guys that I've interviewed, like, it was awesome for me, right? And I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe they'll talk to me because I'm a nobody. Like, they've been around forever and they've won awards and, like, they're super famous and important and everybody knows them. It's funny because there's been funny stuff about the hashtag tile celebrity in some of the tile groups lately. But like, this celebrity does exist within the industry. There are people that are known throughout it and are more popular than other people. They've built a brand around them. They've contributed to the industry to have recognition. Okay.
Well, you just said it. Yes. So this may be going off on a tangent, but yeah, so there's something to that. There's something to being asked to do these sort of things with certain companies. It's because you've given good feedback. You make good content. If you're just one of these dudes that sit back and complain and, want to go cry in a corner because nobody's paying attention to you. Well, dude, that's because you're not making any good content and you have nothing good to say. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about your opinion because you don't have anything positive to input.
Yes. And
I agree. You are a positive person and you have good things to say and you have good feedback. These companies have marketing budgets. I would much rather see these marketing budgets go to, getting product to installers or getting tools to installers that can use them and, share what they think about them than some print ad in a magazine. Like, are many people reading print magazines anymore? Like, is that still a thing?
Well, exactly. I'd rather it go to us. But the point is how do you get that crossover? If we want to change the image of us, then we need to be we can't be celebrities in the Facebook. We can't be celebrities in just the Facebook world. We can't be celebrities when we show up to surfaces. That's great. That's within our industry. Congratulations. Okay.
Well, and that's taking the next step. That's really like taking to the next level. So the starting point is our online communities and within the industry. But, the more reach you get within that crowd is going to expand your reach into others. So, and your comfort zone might be just within the online community. So you are perfectly content with your sharing your projects in the online community, getting feedback for others. And that's awesome. Like there is nothing wrong with that. I am totally cool with that. And you have to do, what you're comfortable with, And if you're not ready to take a risk, like we were talking, you're not ready to, kind of put it out there, then, you live in your safe zone until you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Me, personally, I have a limited time on this earth. My cancer and heart trouble run in my family. And, there are things that are genetic that, there are a very low chance of surviving. So, and I'm okay with that. I understand. I don't fear that. I just want to make the biggest impact I can while I'm here. I don't fear death. I fear not making a big enough difference during my journey.
Well, it's not for everybody. I mean, not every Hollywood star is in the tabloids, right? Like, some of them do find a way to keep a lower profile existence. Some of them want to be seen and have a big deal made about them. But the point is, right? Like, if we're going to try and fix this and we need to draw in new blood and we need to get the people outside of the industry to recognize that there's actual value in what we do and that it's worth
we need to be rock stars to the people outside of the industry.
How much of a difference would Flooring Installer's image be if one of the guys from this old house would have been flooring installer, right? Like I think one of them's a roofer and one of them was a framer or something like that. I don't know what the other guy does, but I don't know that much about it because I never got into it. It would appeal to me more now because I have a better understanding of the construction industry. But if somebody in a mainstream role like that were to be able to have a larger influence, then the mainstream population would develop a different view. There isn't somebody on television on any of these flip shows where they're like highlighting the flooring installer, right? It's always the realtor that does the flips or the designer. It's even like, okay, I love what Rollin makes sure that the flooring installs happen correctly for Restaurant Impossible. I've interviewed him. We've talked about it. It's amazing. He gets television shows on a budget to make that happen. But they're not putting him on the screen per se and interviewing him about what he's doing. It's just, here's a shot of the floor going in, right? And then this other guy is there to say we're going to make this place better and they're going to come out of it great. He's not getting the focus. So how do we get the flooring installer? Like, where's the show for the flooring installer?
It's funny that we get such a kick out of seeing each other on the Restaurant Impossible episodes in particular. Like, when Rollins says, oh, this episode's going to air tonight. Like, we all tune in to say, oh, hey, there's Don Perkins is on that episode. I just saw him. Like, he was on that screen for 0.5 seconds. Mm-hmm. We all get such a kick out of it because we love Don Perkins. He's incredible. But let's let Don talk about the flooring. I want a flooring show. I want to see Don, and Rollins installing the floor.
That's the point. That's what's needed is, look, there'd be a flooring show if somebody had gone to one of these companies and marketed a show that made sense about flooring and made it sexy and attractive and showed value in it. Apparently no one's done that yet. So until we can influence the mainstream somehow, we're not going to solve the problem we have because they don't care. It's a commodity, right? I'm expected to have floors. You can't close on a home with an FHA loan if it doesn't have flooring in it. The Federal Housing Authority says a house has to have flooring in it if you get an FHA loan. You understand how ridiculous that is? You're telling me that plywood subfloor isn't going to be just fine for somebody to move in on? It is. A dirt floor would be just fine if it was compacted properly and done right. I don't know how to make a dirt floor, but parts of the world do, and they're living just fine. So I don't have to have carpet. I don't have to have sheet vinyl. I don't have to have tile. I don't need LVP or laminate or wood. But somebody's saying I do, which has commoditized it, which has lowered our attractiveness and lowered our value because it's expected. I'm sorry, but you don't need that. That's a luxury in life. And we have to convey that message again.
Yeah, no. I just think that, we have technology is such an interesting thing. And we have the ability to reach endless amounts of people, whether it's through our personal, let's talk social media independently of other technology. Social media alone, you have the opportunity to reach endless amounts of people, and depending on the platform,
but
based on how much you pay.
Now. That's the thing.
So it cross-platform. But there are apps that you get tons of organic, reach, and surprisingly, LinkedIn is really big on organic reach posts, mm-hmm. And I kind of think LinkedIn is a little underrated because people have this tendency to think, it's just for business people. It's just for business people. Well, yeah, but business people have houses too, don't they? Like they live somewhere and, need stuff. So if I'm scrolling LinkedIn and I'm seeing the same artistry that is being posted on Instagram, maybe I'm not on Instagram. Maybe I don't do that. But, this particular post that somebody did caught my eye now. And now this is in the back of my head from LinkedIn. It's kind of something that you don't think about. Yeah. But I really try and post on a variety of platforms just on the off chance, because you never know who's going to see your stuff. You never know what's going to go viral. We saw the dude on the skateboard drinking ocean spray. They bought that guy a damn car, dude. He just posted a little TikTok video on a skateboard with him drinking juice.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. And, that was like, a 20-second video.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and, different things appeal to different people. This goes back to marketing. But, it's you really need to take advantage of everything that's presented to you. And, social media is quite the interesting entity at this moment in time. It kind of has evolved and has stayed stagnant on, it's kind of its own little thing. And the more experimental you are on it, you really have the opportunity to, put yourself in front of a really big audience at no cost.
Yeah.
So let's see this show off. Like, I want to put out what's it called? Like a call to arms. Let's put a call to arms out to installers everywhere. Share your most badass installs, the craziest stuff, the most off the wall things. Like, let's just flood social media with all of these projects. People don't pay attention to us. Let's make them pay attention to us. Let's show off what we can do. Let's brag about our craftsmanship and, really put ourselves out there for others to judge. Who cares if they don't like it? Mm-hmm. I don't post on social media because I care what others think. I post on social media because I want to share my work with the world.
Well, so I'm a huge culprit of this. Like, this is my problem, is that I will post to my business page and I will post to the flooring groups, but I don't post on my personal page enough. And it's
great. Why not?
Well, that's it, right? Like, for me, I focus on the business page because I want to grow that, and then I participate in a professional capacity on the flooring groups, okay? And so then I don't share anything on the personal page because that's not where my professional stuff goes. But
dude,
therein lies the problem.
Different platforms in 30 seconds, copy and paste.
I understand. It's not hard. It's that's the issue. I know that I'm not the only one that does this. We're not putting the stuff out there to where the world can see it. Therefore, they're not experiencing it, and we can't go viral. We're limiting ourselves. We're cutting ourselves off at the feet. So we're not gonna be able to get anywhere because we're not putting it in a capacity for it to get somewhere. When you post something to a private group, it can't be shared unless you share it from your personal page into the group. That's a different story. But when it's just straight posted to the private group,
that goes more towards technique rather than content.
Correct. But if I'm also not expecting a post on my personal business page to go anywhere. Most likely it's going to happen from the organic flow of how your personal page goes and people interact with that, and it's going to spread from there. And so we have to stop limiting the audience that we make ourselves available to and put it out there to a greater audience. Like, you do very well of posting definitely. From like, this is Ken Ballin, I'm doing it, but then you post it to Skyro and you post it in the groups. You post it all three different ways. So it's putting it out there. Most of us are putting it in a way that it's not able to go anywhere. So like I said, we have to stop cutting ourselves off at the feet. So I agree. And so we need to do better of making it available to the public. They have to be able to see what we can do and why it's so exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
It's quiet. It's probably the quietest it's ever been on this podcast.
I just, I was gathering my thoughts, but I think that, I've kind of made my argument here. I've kind of, I didn't, the point of this was not to criticize those who have taken steps to address the installer crisis, as much as a call to arms to those who maybe haven't considered making an impact yet. So I really think that, you know, as a group of individuals, as a group of professionals, we have the power to make a difference, and we need to start doing so.
I think you summed that up very nicely. And we are way over time, but that's okay. This is an important issue. Look, I'll go another hour on this. I don't really care. I'll split it into 2 episodes. But the point is I don't think if anybody that's come up with their own solution thinks we're bashing them, they are totally wrong. That's not what we did here. I agree that what they're doing is important.
Absolutely right.
And they stepped up and they said, I'm going to do something. Good on you. I am so happy that you exist in our industry. I love where you're at. This is encouraging us as installers to get up off our butts and do something about the position we find ourselves in. Because if anyone can but if anybody can fix it, it's the guys at the bottom. We are the feet on the ground making it happen. We have to fix our own. We have to fix the poop that we're wallowing in here. Like, we dug our own grave, so now we got to dig our way out of it. Okay, like, start digging the steps to walk out. Like, you can't just keep digging the hole down. It's not going to work.
Well, dude, if it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be an industry.
Correct. They can
if
produce
there
all
isn't
the
anybody to install it.
Exactly.
It ain't there.
They can manufacture it. They can sell it. But if there ain't anyone to install it, they don't need either one of those. So, like, look, I'm not saying we hold all the power in this industry. We don't. We need to form partnerships with stores and manufacturers, and it's a symbiotic relationship. But at the end of the day, they're not going to make us look better than we are. They can help, but at the end of the day, it's on us. And that's what we're doing here. Is Ken and I want to encourage you to go and make the industry look glamorous, because it is. There are plenty.
Make a difference. Show us what you got.
Yes. Post in the groups. Post on your personal page. Show us the crazy stuff you've got. And look, I disagree with Ken. If you've got an amazing bedroom that's just red oak, that's strip and got new finish on it, show me, because I think it's amazing. Because at the end of the day, you brought a difference into somebody's life, and they love what you did. And that's we bring smiles.
I mean, every post is better than no post, dude. So, like, if that's what you're working on, like, post it by all means. Like, share what you're working on. That doesn't make it any less valuable than what others are doing.
Yes.
But I want to really address the issue at hand, which is people aren't attracted to the trades. We need to make the trade look attractive.
I agree.
So that's where the over-the-top crazy stuff comes in.
The creativity is going to help. Getting up our wages is going to help. Teaching people how to run a business is going to help. Teaching people how to do the trade properly is going to help. Getting certifications is going to help. It all goes hand in hand. You just got to start working. They're all
ingredients of the big picture.
Exactly. And you need to work towards all of them. You don't have to get them overnight. Look, if you started this, you got a long way to go. You're not doing this for a year. You're not doing it 5 years. Hopefully you're doing it 20 plus years. You got time. You can work on one thing at a time.
We're all on the journey together, man. We're all on the journey together.
So go out there, make a difference in the industry. Start posting pictures for Ken all over the place. Show us the crazy stuff.
Show us your badassery. I want to see it.
Yes. And, talk with people about what makes this such a great trade. Let them know we're not a commodity item. We are special. We provide an amazing thing. And honestly, I tell my clients all the time, don't skimp on your floors. You use them more than anything else in your house.
That's the truth.
So it shouldn't be cheap. You want a product that lasts? Spend some money on it and then pay me to put it in right. All right, brother. That's I don't like I said, I know we could keep going, but we got to shut up at some point.
Yeah.
And you might...
They're probably getting sick of hearing me now.
I don't know. If anybody, it's me. I'm on weekly.
Well, it's always a pleasure.
Yes.
I'm glad we have this. It's really, and I don't mean to go off on another tangent, but like it's nice to have this outlet. It's one thing to be able to post and type on social media, share photos to see, but to have something like to hear our voices and an actual conversation, you get my tone much differently than if I'm typing something to you. So it's nice to have an outlet that allows that creativity to kind of come through a little more. So I personally appreciate what you do.
Thank you. It means a lot. I think that we need to be able to hear each other. There's something to be said when you can hear the passion in somebody's voice versus them just trying to express it. It makes a big difference. And so this outlet is here to inspire others. That's like we've been talking about. We got to rebuild the industry because it's broken from the ground up. And so I am here to help encourage it to be remade. We can rise from these. I don't think we're sitting in ashes yet, and I hope we never are, but man, we can stoke this thing a little bit and add a log or two and get it rolling.
You know
again.
what? You can always go up.
Correct. So right on, man. Maybe you go set that pan. Maybe you go home. I don't know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I think I might call it a day.
Okay, good for you.
There's always tomorrow.
All right, I got 4 podcasts to edit and get uploaded in the next 8 hours. So, go me.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much for having me again. It's
You're
always
welcome.
a pleasure. I love talking with you.
Great conversation. Thank you, buddy. Bye. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.